The truth is that I can speak French in daily life. I can go to the doctor, deal with administration, talk to colleagues, handle normal conversations, and manage most situations in France. So my problem is not that I cannot speak French at all. The issue is that when I need to explain a complex idea, give a structured opinion, or sound professional in French, that is where I feel the gap. And I think this is the point where a lot of people at B2 get stuck. Because B2 is enough to communicate. But if you want to move toward a C1 level, you need deliberate practice. You need to practice explaining ideas, adding nuance, and responding naturally. And that is where ChatGPT became useful for me, not as a magic shortcut, but as a daily speaking coach for the French that I actually need. So in this video, I'm going to show you how I use ChatGPT to improve my French from a B2 level to a C1 level. So the routine I use is built around one very simple idea. Speak, correct, repeat. That sounds simple, but for me, it changed the way I practice French. You see, a lot of my French training was initially very passive. I would read articles, listen to podcasts, watch videos, or ask ChatGPT how to say something better. And all of that was useful, but I realized something. I was consuming a lot of French, but I was not producing enough French. Because at some point, you need more than just input. You need to speak, you need to make mistakes, you need to get corrected, and then you repeat the corrected version until it starts to feel more natural. To make this routine easier to repeat, I created a dedicated ChatGPT project for my French speaking practice. If you are new to projects, it is basically a folder where you can save instructions once, so every new chat inside that folder follows the same rules and stays focused on the same goal. Inside that project, I save one main instruction prompt, and that prompt becomes a full training system for my French practice. For example, every session should include a realistic situation, a sentence-by-sentence translation exercise, useful C1 level expressions, 6 speaking questions in French, hidden model answers, 1 unexpected project question, and a final 60 to 90 second oral summary. And you can also tailor the session to your own needs. For example, if you want to practice talking about current affairs, you can ask ChatGPT to create scenarios around recent news topics. Or if you work in a specific industry like finance or technology, you can ask it to build the exercises around that field. So instead of acting like a general tutor, ChatGPT becomes like a daily speaking coach for the kind of French that I actually need. To start each new session, I open a new chat inside the project and paste a short launch prompt. It is basically a condensed version of the full instruction prompt and reminds ChatGPT to start the exercise and follow the rules. I'll include the full instruction prompt and the short launch prompt in the description below. But the technical setup is not the most important part. The most important part is the method. You need to speak first, get corrected, and then repeat the improved version. So let me walk you through what this looks like in practice. When I start a new session, ChatGPT first creates a realistic scenario. This scenario is usually in English because I want to completely understand the situation before trying to explain it in French. For example, the situation might be something like this. You are part of a parents' committee at a small daycare in France. The director wants to introduce a private app where staff would post photos and updates about the children during the day. Some parents are enthusiastic because they feel it would reassure them and help them follow their child's development more closely. Others are uncomfortable, arguing that even a private app can create privacy risks and put pressure on staff to document everything instead of focusing on the children. You need to express a balanced view, acknowledge the value of better communication, and recommend a solution that protects both children and staff while keeping parents informed. It forces me to explain the situation, compare different viewpoints, and make a recommendation. This is much closer to the kind of French that I want to speak. So the first part of the routine is a translation exercise. Before ChatGPT gives me the speaking questions, it takes an English scenario, sentence by sentence, and asks me to translate it into French. And I have to try first before looking at the suggested translation. For example, the English sentence might be, the director wants to introduce a private app where staff post photos, short notes, and updates about the children during the day. So I tried to translate it myself. Maybe I tried to say, le directeur veut introduire une application privée où les employés peuvent télécharger des photos, des notes et des mises à jour à propos des enfants pendant la journée. I think it's understandable what I want to say. It communicates the idea. but it's definitely not the most correct French. So let's see what ChatGPT has to say. It says, la directrice envisage de mettre en place une application privée permettant au personnel de partager des photos, de brefs commentaires et des nouvelles des enfants au fil de la journée. And this is useful because I can already see better expressions like envisage de mettre en place au fil de la journée and so on. So I'm not just getting corrected, I'm building better sentence patterns. In the next section, I'm asked 6 questions in French, and the questions become progressively harder. But the most important point is, I must answer out loud before looking at the model answer. But if I just read the model answer, I feel like I understand it. But understanding is not the same as speaking. So if the question is, à ton avis, les parents ont-ils raison de demander plus de transparence? I answer out loud first. A basic answer might be, oui, je pense que les parents ont raison parce qu'ils veulent savoir ce qui se passe pendant la journée, mais il faut aussi faire attention parce que les employés peuvent passer beaucoup de temps sur l'application. The answer is fine and I think it communicates the idea, but I'm sure it's not the best version of French and it definitely has some mistakes. So let's see the model answer. Je comprends l'argument des parents car leur demande repose sur un besoin légitime de réassurance. Cela dit, je nuancerai ce point. La transparence ne doit pas se transformer en contrôle permanent. Une bonne relation entre parents et crèche repose à la fois sur l'information, la confiance et le respect du travail des professionnels. That version sounds better because it sounds more natural in a professional context. It gives me the sentence patterns I can reuse later, like je comprends l'argument mais je nuancerai ce point. Cela repose sur un besoin légitime. Then I repeat the improved version out loud, and that repetition is very important. So that is how I use ChatGPT to train my French from a B2 level to a C1 level. Again, I want to be very clear that ChatGPT is not a replacement for real conversations with real people. But for me, it gives me a way to practice actively every day by speaking, getting corrected, and repeating the improved versions. If you want to try it, I've put the full prompt in the description below. And of course, you can use this for any other language that you like. My suggestion is simple. Try it for 30 days, even if it is just 20 minutes a day, because small daily practice starts to compound. And there is this one idea that I really like. We often overestimate what we can achieve in a short period of time, but underestimate what we can achieve in a lifetime. So this is not about becoming perfect overnight, but this is about building better speaking reflexes one session at a time.